Notre Dame headed to the national championship. Let's dive right in. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller said he was trying to throw the ball into the ground. Irish defensive back Christian Gray picked it off instead as Notre Dame would kick the game-winning field goal and beat Penn State 27-24 and advance to the national championship. Marcus Freeman will be the first African-American head coach to coach in a national championship, making history. Here he is on the win.
These guys are a bunch of savages. They're built different. I told them they're built different, and I'm so proud of them. Just what they've accomplished, the way they've stayed together and find ways to improve, and they play for each other. They're a special group.
All right, Cam, you're up first. What do you make of Notre Dame now?
First off, Coach Marcus Freeman is a great coach.
Yeah.
Like, I do not want that not to be mentioned. Mm-hmm. But I'm ready for Notre Dame to play in a conference.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
fair.
It's almost like that person that's sitting in the playground and say, no, y'all hash it out. And when y'all hash it out, y'all gonna knock each other off, and then I'm gonna step in the forefront. I see a stat that says teams that they're 7-0 versus ranked opponents. Mm-hmm. Now, that could be a very subjective and real kind of skewed kind of statistic. Those teams are as follows. Texas A&M, okay. Louisville, Navy, where we at? Indiana, Army, Georgia without Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also Penn State. So with that, I'm not trying to rain on their parade because their defense is legit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying the road to where they got, and that's my questionable mark.
Go ahead, RC.
What I love about sports media, what I love about humans is, you know what's hard for us to do? And anybody who has ever been in a relationship knows this. It's hard to say, baby, I was wrong. And that's what Cam Newton can't do. I get it. It's hard to say, oh, wait, they went out and played Georgia, a team that during the week, you knew Gunnar Stockton was going to be the quarterback. They went out and they beat them. Not only did they beat them by 2 scores. And they beat them physically up front on both sides of the ball. And they beat them mentally because Marcus Freeman outcoached the gold standard for coaching now that Nick Saban has retired and Kirby Smart. But it's hard to say after the game, man, you know what? This Notre team is different, just like RC said. And then you go and play Penn State, who, by the way, plays in the conference, who, by the way, played in the conference championship, which makes this the second team that Notre Dame has played in a row that was in the conference championship, and they beat them too. It doesn't matter how you get there in this particular form of the college football playoff. Because we can say what we want about Indiana. They played in the Big Ten. They didn't play in the conference championship. They walked up to Notre Dame and they got their face beat in. Georgia played in the conference championship, won the SEC. They won the SEC and finished with Gunnar Stockton at the quarterback position. They went in there and they got their face beat in. And in the game where adversity hit, where you lose 2 more offensive linemen, where you lose another defensive player, all you do is strap up on the back end and don't allow a touch by a wide receiver. All you do is find a way to get an interception and win with Mitch Jeter. At some point, we got to just say, these dudes can play, and their coach is an absolute star.
Well, let me chime in here. First of all, I find myself, I still don't think Notre Dame's going to win the national championship if they got to go up against Ohio State. I think they would beat Texas. But I got to be honest with you, I got a rooting interest in Notre Dame, not just because I would love to see a black man win the national championship. That would be a beautiful thing. I'm rooting for Marcus Freeman, make no mistake about it. And, of course, RC, there's a Clark on that's on Notre Dame. That's family right there. We got to root for him too. So Jordan Clark, we got to do that too. But Cam, here's the biggest reason I got to side with RC on this one. They are built differently than most Notre Dame teams. Last time they was in the national championship game was 2013.
Yes.
Whether it's Brian Kelly or anybody else coaching them, we ain't seen Notre Dame look like this in a long time. I'm talking about their level of physicality. I'm talking about how they out-physical other teams. And then you look at this cat, Riley Leonard. Think about this. 75, 71, 81 yards. Touchdown drives in the second half. We can't ignore that against Penn State, who looked big time in the first half. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore a field goal kicker in Jeter, who was the worst in the FBS throughout the season. The worst. But now it's hit, 7 to 8 field goals? We got to give credit where credit is due. Cats are stepping up. to the challenge. They stepped up when they went up against Georgia, okay? They stepped up when they went up against Penn State. I'm looking at Notre Dame. We saw Indiana chirping about remember their coach came on College Football Game Day talking about not only do we beat teams, we beat their ass, and then he got his ass kicked going up against Notre Dame. We can't ignore that. We can't. Mark Freeman didn't say a word. He didn't say a word. He looked smooth and polished, went out there, coached the team, didn't say a word, were relevant for the first time since 1957, and then you chirping, okay, even though you just got there. As the coach in Indiana, you can't do something like that and then your team go out there and get smacked around. But that's exactly what happened. So I'm looking at Notre Dame right now, and I'm looking at their physicality. Look at this kid Love and that touchdown run from 2 yards out. That was a Cam Newton run right there. That was a Cam Newton run right there. I mean, the brother ran through. They couldn't get him down. And he got in and he got that touchdown. I'm just looking at things from Notre Dame. And I'm not seeing this typical independent team that's got a contract with NBC that I'm wondering about. Why the hell are you on national television all the time? Why are you relevant? I'm looking at Notre Dame, and this particular year, I know why. Yeah. I'm seeing what I customarily see from the SEC and the Big Ten, and I'm seeing them go up against both and saying, go home. Yeah. That's what I saw.
I'm with you, but one thing about it, RC, you know, the tone never changes with me. I can admit to say, if I'm wrong, right? I haven't been wrong about Notre Dame yet. Have I been surprised about their physicality and the way they've been winning? Yes. Are they a different team? Are they a different team surrounded by guys that have bought into Marcus Freeman's method? Yes. But when you're talking about earning the right to say I won the national championship, I can't say that they went through the bushels and the thorns and all this to get to the top.
Before RC chimes in, because he's got a slight delay, so we can't interrupt him when he's talking. But I want to say this. I want to ask this question. Is there anything that can make you feel differently based on their opponent? If they go against Texas or they go against Ohio State, is there anything that can happen in the national championship game that can change your opinion about what you said about Notre Dame?
This year?
Yes.
No, they need to be in a conference.
So even if they win the national championship?
It depends on how they win it.
He felt like what he's saying is the road was too easy. So he's not respecting it as much because of how it all played out. And the one opponent, we would say Georgia, right, the SEC opponent, didn't have their starting quarterback. Correct. So it loses some credence in your eyes.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, Penn State had their team. But go ahead, RC. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the hard part for me when we're speaking about these things, it's, okay, well, who have these teams beat? Texas is in a big conference. Texas is in the SEC. Texas earned their right here by having their one big win be against Texas A&M during the season. Last I checked, Notre Dame beat that team as well. And no one is going to say, oh, Texas didn't earn their way here. Texas didn't play a hard schedule just because they're aligned in a certain conference. And you can also look at teams like Indiana when they do get to the college football playoffs. Yes, they play in the Big Ten, but the one difficult team they played or top 10 team they played was the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they blew their doors off. Are we going to say if Indiana gets to this point, they didn't have the proper, or they didn't do what they needed to do to get here? And so I think what we're doing is picking and choosing on Notre Dame, Stephen A.
Well, let me say this to you. I think you're right about that. And here's, Cam, I'm going to end it by simply saying this. I think you're going to have to come to the realization, Cam Newton, this ain't the same old SEC. Big Ten, especially the SEC. You looked at Alabama this year. That ain't the Alabama that I've grown accustomed to loving Roll Tide for the last 17 years when Nick Saban was doing his thing. That ain't the same. When I look at LSU with Brian Kelly, that ain't the good old days with RC and Swagoo and the rest of the crew, with OBJ and Jamar Chase and all of those, and Joe Burrow. That ain't the same old LSU. When I'm looking at Georgia this year with Carson Beck as their quarterback, ain't the same Georgia that won back-to-back national championships and possibly would have had a third had they gotten into the playoffs that third year, which is last year. I didn't see that. I mean, the SEC as we once saw them, okay, they all been damn sure ain't the same since you've been gone.
I love Jesus.
Come on now.
You get the final word, and then I got to move on.
You're like, real quick, like, just when you're talking about Alabama, even though
I can't even say Roll Tide no more.
They're the
I'm so disgusted.
I understand that, but I respect what Nick Saban has done.
Respect. That's great. He's
That
great.
wasn't Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa,
I know
man.
that. That's what I'm saying.
Don't sit
That's
up
what
there
I'm
and say the same. They lost recruits off
No,
the
that's what I'm
merit.
saying.
Yes,
You're making my
it's not
point.
the same.
It's not the same anymore, so
For
you can't be
sure.
going by
Okay.
that. It's
For
not the
sure.
same
All
anymore.
right, we're leaving it there.
Things
I just
done
want to say really quick before we push to the NFL, RC, I think it's so cool and so special that you're able to be on the journey with your son
is beautiful, man.
and your family, and I know how much your family means
Thank
to
you
you.
so
And then
much.
you're getting to cover
Thank
the
you.
games, as well on TV. And
It's messing with my head, Molly, because I'm
messing with my
watching
heart.
the game and I'm going like this.
Yeah.
Where's RC? Where they gonna show? I mean, damn it! They
Yeah.
show other people's poppers. Why ain't they showing more? Where's the air time for RC? If he's in a suite, find him.
Ryan's
He's on the sideline.
not worried about the airtime. Ryan's just
I know
happy
that, but
for
I'm
his
saying I
son.
want to.
How much?